What's up guys, X-Rains here bringing you X Reviews number 48 and 49. This track is called Vegas SX 2013 by VR Iceman. Now before I get into the track, just make sure you go to subscribe to Outlaw Racing Live. Link will be in the description. That's the channel we're using for all our race coverage and league news now. Anyway, this jump is, this track is fucking awesome. It has an epic layout, epic aesthetics, and just is epic all around. You know, the jumps are epic, they're fucking huge, and they don't work all the time, but for how big they are, they work, I think, as much as you're going to get them to work with how big they are. But as you could see right there, I kind of failed the line. Like, you can kind of jump over that braking bump onto the next landing, but it's all good. And I landed on top of Metaconix, I believe. I don't know. But yeah, the huge jumps on this track just make it so fun to race. And they all work most of the time as long as you take the right line. Except for this final jump, which just sometimes randomly screws you over. I guess it's just because there's such a variation in speed you can have going into it. And these jumps along the whole shot, I really love that. It's kind of reminiscent of one of the tracks on MX vs ATV Reflex, and I love how the safeties are so original. But I believe my friend has something to say about this whoop section.
Alright, so this section has a lot of whoops, and they're quite whoopy, which is good for whoop sections. So I give this whoop section a 5 out of 5 Whoopi Goldbergs.
Wow, 5 out of 5 Whoopi Goldbergs, Adam. Well, I guess that's the best whoop section he's ever seen. Anyway, as I was saying, the safeties on the jumps are quite original, whereas like if you case a jump, you won't be completely screwed over by having to crawl back up the jump. There's kind of like higher up safeties rather than having to crawl all the way from the bottom. But yeah, as he said, those whoops are very whoopy. Yes, they are. If you don't drive over the whoops completely straight, you're likely gonna flip, unless you slow down a lot, and I guess you'll see it again this lap. But yeah, here's the safeties I was talking about, like right here. See how on that last jump, if you failed it, you would have just been able to keep on going. And right here again, I believe, yep. And let's see how the whoops go for me this time. Wow, I drove them pretty good. Got a little squirrely towards the end, but you know, it was drivable still. However, if that happened earlier up in the whoop section, obviously I would have been fucked. Right here, let's see if I make that transfer jump. Yep, pretty good. So yeah, this track has a lot of depth to it, but it's also a really fun track, and I really hope you guys give it a download, because this is an awesome second track, I believe. Well, I know he's made tracks in Halo 3, he was telling me that the other day, but this is his second track in Halo 4, I believe. So yeah, go give it a download, and on to the next track. Alright guys, this track is called Cliffside MX by OMG It's Robbie and Rabbit Tourist. Now this track has a very original, unique layout, like all of their tracks do. And I had a really fun time racing on this track. Unfortunately, it's one of those tracks again with slightly inconsistent jumps, but the jumps I'm talking about are huge, so it's not that big a deal to me. Obviously, with inconsistent jumps like that, it's never going to get into ORL, but it's still really fun to race on. But this right here, I think there should have been more bordering leading up to the berm, just because you can completely cut and come out better than someone who goes anywhere near the berm. And I guess maybe right there as well. But you know, berms are optional. If you know which ones to skip, then you'll be good. But yeah, I know it's kind of annoying when people complain about not having to take the berms when they're optional. But anyway, Anyway, I like this under over section, how it's like a turning under over. I really think that's an original idea. I think that I cased that jump because I didn't have enough speed. But I also found that the bordering was kind of sloppy in some parts. Like, you'll notice pretty big gaps between the track and the bordering, which kind of gets on my nerves. Like, I don't know. But it's not really a huge deal like most of the things on this track. But yeah, for the most part, this track is just awesome, fun to race on, really unique layout, typical Rob and Rabbit Tourist style. I think some of the court bordering could have looked a bit better, like instead of using blocks there, but and like also those what are they called, cylinder pieces were kind of ugly, but I once again, I don't really care. I'm just trying to pick some things with this track that I can talk about, really, because there's nothing else to talk about, just because it's a really fun track. So I'm just trying to find any negatives that I can. So yeah, go download this track, guys. The first track was Vegas SX 2013 by VR Iceman. This track was Cliffside MX by OMG It's Robbie and a Rabbit Tourist, and the names and maps will be in the description, along with the link to the Outlaw Racing Live YouTube channel, where we are now uploading all of our race coverage and league news. So if you wish to keep seeing that, then go to subscribe to that channel. Anyway, X-Rains out. I like to race.